Now sonnets, we're going to try to figure out what kind of sonnet this one is. They follow a very specific structure. There are 14 lines, there's a very specific rhyme scheme, and there's a turn in line 9. And a turn is simply a shift in tone, either from a proposition to a solution or from one tone to the next. And before we figure out what kind this is, we're going to discuss what kinds of sonnets there are. There's the Italian or the Petrarchan, which can get a little bit complicated. The first 8 lines, which is an octave created from 2 quatrains of 4 lines each, is always A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A. And then the sestet, the remaining 6 lines, can be any of these 5 choices. The Spenserian sonnet is much more simple. It's A, B, A, B, B, C, B, C, C, D, C, D, and then a couplet at the end, E, E. And the English or Shakespearean sonnet is something that most people are probably already more familiar with. A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and the rhyming couplet at the end, G, G. Based on these choices right here, what kind of sonnet best fits Holy Sonnet 10?
I like the Italian one.
Why?
Because it just seems to fit better. All the endings
Okay.
just kind of repeat. The other ones don't seem to, well,
Do you mean that the
they
Italian?
have like, they start off repeating and then it kind of towards the end they don't really repeat as much and it adds 1 or 2 different lines in.
So there's more rhymes in the last 2, and there's fewer rhymes in the first one?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. And with almost anything, these guidelines are just that. They're guidelines. A lot of the poets would modify them as they see fit. So even though the last line, the last 2 lines, one short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more, death thou shalt die, that's not a direct rhyme. It's a little bit different. That's done breaking the rules a little bit, bending them to see as he sees fit for this particular instance. Now, in analysis of this poem, we're going to figure out we're going to break it down and figure out what exactly John Donne is saying. Do you have any ideas?
That he's not scared. He's just mocking death.
Very good. Death is not scary.
Kind of laughs in his face.
Very, very good. And man can control death. Can you tell me where at in this poem it says that?
Isn't it at that shift or that turn?
Mm-hmm.
Thou art slave to fate.
And what does he mean in that line?
Men can control their own fate. Fate.
What
and
is
then
this?
That way, you know, they can go to war, they can kill somebody else, and that has nothing to do with death himself.
So if someone were to kill someone else, that's the man controlling the death and not death controlling. Is that right? Good job. And then there's the likeness to sleeping. Donne was very Christian. He was a priest in his time. The Christians a lot of times compare sleeping to, or death to the eternal sleep. And everybody likes sleeping, usually. Get nice and comfortable. So really, death's not that scary when you think about, oh, it's just a long sleep. And then after this, the eternal sleep, whenever you wake up, you're reborn into heaven. And of course, in heaven, there's no more death, there's no pain or anything. So after that one quick nap, is it really that bad? And then death can also be the result of other factors. What other factors could that be?
Well, you can get sick. Very sick of war.
Right.
Other people, you can kill them, you can kill yourselves.
Right. And sickness and war, that's not death controlling anyone. He is being controlled by these other guys who are kind of like his own bullies. They're forcing him to do what they need to have done. And the awesome thing about death is that it can only happen once, at least in the Christian faith. So you're terrified your whole life of one thing that can't happen more than once. It's kind of silly almost. And then the overall message, what John Donne is trying to say, is death is nothing to fear. Because man, you can control it. If you decide that you want to take someone's life, you can do that. You are in control. And then the comparison to sleep that everybody likes. And the benefits of death. You get reborn into heaven where there's no other complications.
So there's like no pain and no suffering, and
right.
You can just live happily in heaven.
Exactly. And then how Donne accomplishes overcoming this fear is, at first he gently condescends death by kind of like talking to him and mocking him a little bit more gently, and then at that turn in line 9 where he says he's slave to everything else, he's a little bit more harshly insulting him. And death shall be no more, death thou shalt die. That's a pretty strong comment to make towards death. Did you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for being such a good class.